Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And then I'm so humbled to be in your midst because I'm just a student going to my second year in the university. And it looks as if I have a lot to learn from my audience than actually to even tell them. So today I'm here to do a presentation on experiential education platform to study the agricultural value chain. And then did any one of us know that the true meaning of agriculture in the African context should be Africa's greatest rich industrial culture? That's A for Africa, G for greatest, R for rich, I for industrial, and then the culture comes. And then the question is why? I know of countries like US, theirs is entertainment. So you have Hollywood, they are coming up with technologies, and then always that sector is booming. But mine, as an African, as a Ghanaian, is agriculture. We have a lot of arable lands around us, and then we can grow anything at all that we want to grow. But how did this happen? 25 years ago, Vietnam didn't have coffee. But now the coffee that Vietnam produces is more than the production that Africa, the whole continent, produces. Just 25 years. How did it happen? It means that there's a problem. And I'm going to concentrate on the agriculture side and later on link it to how education comes in. So we realize that there's a lot of insufficiency when it comes to learning, knowledge, and expertise in the agriculture sector. In everything that we are doing, you have to really understand the nitty-gritties of it so that you'll be able to actually evolve as time also evolves. You have innovative ways of doing things. We have a lot of problems, some within and some beyond our control. We have climate change and other things. But we realize that the baseline is insufficiency of learning. Engineers, architects, bankers, economists, those great elites and erudites do not want to invest their skills in agriculture. They think that it is mainly for the old men and the women who are at home. But if we don't invest our knowledge and the skills in the sector, how can we find new ways of doing things? So it means that we'll be doing similar things always, and then we have to earn the same results. So that's a problem. When the project was rolled out, and then some of us took it up, we were asking ourselves a lot of questions. How do we go about this? How do we start? Where do we start from? We didn't know what to do because none of us had any prior experience in farming. And you know, the agricultural value chain is such a broad thing. So almost when we were overwhelmed with what to do, we chanced upon a man called Cole, David Cole, and I'm sure being professors and erudites, you've heard a lot about him. So he's the one who came up with experiential learning, as in learning by doing what you are learning. And it was propounded by Aristotle and later on developed by Kobe to a mainstream learning model. So you have the 4 steps, you have concrete experience, you have reflective observation, you have abstract conceptualization, and you have active experimentation. So when we were starting the project, we started with planning. Everything goes with planning. We broke down the whole project into simpler bits and we allotted timelines for them. Then we did a bit of research, mainly ethnographic research. We went out, we talked to certain persons who were in the industry, like Dr. Charles Tutors of CSIR. And then we also went to the market because we were concentrating on vegetables, herbs, and spices. We needed to fit the project within the span of the semester so that we could actually account for it at the end of the semester. And then execution. So when we got to execution, we invited Cope into the scene. We had heard of him, but now we invited him that he should come and actually do the work for us. So Cope's theory starts with concrete experience. His is not about sitting in the classroom or going to the internet to go and search for information. His is about you learning the thing by doing it. So in order for us to understand what agriculture is really about and have personal encounter with some of these problems in order to be able to come up with solutions for them, he advised us to do the thing. So we started with some seeds of vegetables, And as you can see, we got beetroot, ground cherry, and others. When we got the seeds, we had a field, but the field wasn't prepared. And we know that in agriculture, one major activity is nursing of the seeds. But you can either nurse them or sow them directly on the field. And when we were found within these two options, because our field wasn't prepared, we decided to go with nursing of the seeds. But that one also came with a problem. Because of financial constraints and time demands, we didn't get wooden boxes, the ideal tool to use for the nursing of the seeds. So we improvise. We use paper boxes with polythene linings. And then of all the 7 seeds that we nursed, only one of them survived because we needed to find results. We went ahead, and then there's something that we should note over here. So within the community where Ashesi is, there's a town called Brekuso, and then they do a lot of farming, mostly pineapple farming. And then what every farmer will recommend is go weedicides, pesticides, chemicals. As that when you have an action, you get a reaction. After you have cleared the weeds with weedicides, do you think it ends there? It doesn't. You go ahead, destroy the organic part of the soil and everything. So we wanted to go straight to the organic. So we did our first weeding, as you can see over here. And then we did our second weeding. We gathered the weeds to use as mulch later on. And then we created our beds. So when we had finished with this, the winter squash which survived over here was ready for transplant. And we did the transplant. So when we got more seeds, we decided to shift and see which step, either sowing it on the field or nursing it, which one comes with less risk. So we sowed beetroot, something that we had nursed which didn't survive. We sowed it directly on the field with other seeds, and that one actually did well and is doing well. So now it means that at least we know when you sow it directly on the field, it comes with less risk than actually nursing in other things. So that's something that we did. And then on the issue of irrigation, so we had started just when the rainy season was almost ending. So when rains weren't coming, we were using this. You have to fetch water from a nearby construction site and take it to the field for irrigation. Then we faced a major challenge, which every farmer dreads of. That is pest and insect attack. So as you can see, we've not yet found a name for these pests, but that was the damage that they were doing to the winter squash. And then we were thinking about it. So how do we go about it? What did we do? So let me start with the pests. Some of the discoveries that we came up with. So we got to know that we can use pepper and ginger solution as pest control. You know how these two are very hot, so it kind of repels them. So we blend the pepper and then the ginger, we make a solution and then we use it. And that has really proven to be very, very, very effective. Wow. On the issue of irrigation, since we didn't have more time to fetch water to the field every day, we decided to use recycled PVC pipes and then plastic bottles. So we hung the PVC pipes. I'm sorry that the picture is not so clear. No, it's okay. We hung the bottles on the PVC pipes, fill them with water and allow it to drip, so that even whilst we are away, there will still be water like normal irrigation. And then what if there's no water? So Ashesi is a place where we produce a lot of plastic waste, some of these. And then as a means of waste management and also enhancing irrigation on the field, we cut some of these same plastic bottles and created a shed, but this time not with aluminum roof, but with a plastic roof. So plastic roof, so that when the rain falls, it collects the water and stores it in the yellow can. There's one of these down there here. So it collects it and then we store it on the field. And when we come, we can have access to water to irrigate. Then in our research and even in our activities, we realized that Ghana here, and I don't know of any other countries, land is actually a very rare commodity, especially for the purposes of agriculture. Looking at the area that it covers on the ground, I can still, so this site alone can take about 20 seedlings. From the top, you make holes at the sides, you just fit the seedlings in it after condensing them, and then you irrigate. So the soil in this is actually mixed with organic manure, the cow dung. So you have nutrients and everything, you irrigate, you pour water on it, and always, and then the crops will actually do well. I've seen videos and other things about it, so we are yet to put in our seedlings though. But the issue is, looking at the space that this sack covers, if I should take the 20 seedlings and plant them directly on the field, it is going to cover more space. So that is an effective and a very efficient way of land management. If I have a small piece of land, that wouldn't restrict me from growing more. So that was something that we also did. And then mulching. So like I talked about weedicides and everything, but we realized that we tested it. You see, this side is covered with mulch, and this side has no mulch. So we were testing how we could use mulch to control weeds, so that we don't first spend money to hire labor to weed, or we do not even endanger our land with weedicides. So we tested it, and you can see that there is no weeds growing over here, but there are weeds growing over here. And when we went closer, you can see how this soil looks so fresh for cultivation. And that is the work of mulch. So mulch retains a lot of moisture and also prevents weeds. So the conclusion, and this is what I talk about, the education aspect. So the first one is that learning by experience is very effective in discovery of knowledge and then competence. We have talked about it here right now, how we want the way education is done to be so useful to the learners and even the teachers. How you want people who are into education not to be like those who have never been in education. But how would they do it? You have something called rote or didactic learning, where you just go sit by the books, read and read and read, but you don't even understand what you are reading. All that you do is just go and write the answers on the paper and then get your grades and go. I once met a civil engineer on the site, on my way to the site, and he was taking measurements of a building. And then someone in his third year, he couldn't read simple measurements on a table because he had feet and then meters on it. He couldn't differentiate. But if he had been doing this over and over and over, he wouldn't have encountered such a problem. And that is what we are talking about. That is the reforms that we have to make in our education sector. We have to shift from that rote learning into something called experiential learning. Learn by doing it. When you do it, you know what you are doing. It doesn't become someone's imposed understanding, but it becomes something that you yourself you have discovered. I've never done farming before, but now look at the kind of knowledge I have in farming. And that is what we are preaching, that is what we want to, the message that we want to send out there. And the last one is David School's model of learning helps in engaging talents, passion, skills among others in the agricultural value chain. So I know everyone has his talent, everyone has something that he or she is passionate about. But what will help this thing grow is when that person has a foundation. So what am I going to use my talent for? This guy here is our photographer and then social media guy. Once he came to the field, he has a lot of passion for photography. When he got to the field, he realized that, yeah, this is where I belong. No one would ever think that photography has something to do with agriculture. But when he came there, he started using his camera. He's the brains behind all the pictures that we have seen. He takes the pictures, he puts them on social media, and then through that we are even educating some of our mates and inviting them to have hands-on learning around the agriculture value chain. So that is what we are talking about. This is just on vegetables first, herbs and spices. But I'm sure that many of us will also want to venture into other fields. So these are some of the recommendations. We actually recommend experiential learning in anything that you're doing. When you want to understand something for yourself, don't sit by the internet alone or don't read books alone. What you discover from the books, go out there and then use it. When you use it, it will be so surprising to to know the kind of knowledge that you get for yourself. So now it becomes your own knowledge. You understand it your own way. And then when you go that way, you have to be ready to spend more time and then more efforts. You have to sacrifice a lot because this is something like an extra curriculum that I'm doing. Even today, I've sacrificed my first classes in my semester, the semester that I'm starting to do this presentation, and that's part of the sacrifices that I've made throughout the semester in order to make this thing work. And then suggestions. So one problem that we faced was technological input. We wanted to take very accurate measurements of some of the things that we were doing, but we didn't have a lot of devices. So if you want to venture into something like this, you should consider the technology that you want to use. And then an interesting area to also look at is design thinking methodology to enhance experiential learning. What I mean is, design thinking is just a problem-solving approach. As in something that you want to solve a problem, but the problem, my time is up. It's because our question time is going to. Yeah. So we don't point. Yeah, the point. Yeah, okay, so you should continue. Yeah, it's okay. We have presentation. Yes, we thank our presenter, Emmanuel Derry, so much. You know, if you look at the theme for the conference, conference on education, development, and innovation, and I think he has presented, one of the innovative ways of teaching and Greek, and if we apply it to all our various subject areas. All African countries. All African countries, yes. So he's a student, and we thank him so much for throwing light, onto how to teach. I hope I'll see teacher education director here. Take it up and agree to hold a workshop also for Greek teachers. To have a look at something of that sort. Yes. I have so many hands. So let's hear all those who want to.
There's a support. Okay.
Very short.
Yeah, very brief. To add to what you just said about management on the of the space. I'm also doing some rearing rabbits in my house. With the water management, I don't carry water every day. I have connected bucket and some system into the cages. So the rabbits, when they are thirsty, they go there and drink from the tube. I saw the technology and said, let me try it, and it's working. And with the water too, I use bottles like this. When I go to, I just put water in the bottle and then punch the hole at the bottom and put it at the base of the plant and leave. Sometimes leave about 2 weeks before I come back and refill the bottle. So regularly supplying water. Yes.
Constant irrigation. Yes. Let's hear. Hey, we have so many hands. Our next presentation.
Mine is also in the area of contribution.
Okay.
And after the conference, you can meet me. I've designed something on biological nitrogen fixation.
Sure. Okay.
So that it's a mathematical model. We will test it on your farm.
Sure. The sack farm. Yes.
Mine is perhaps comment and contribution.
Very brief.
You talk about innovation.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. What's happening in Winnipeg. Now we are suffering from water crisis. Winnipeg. In fact, my pipe hasn't flew for over 1 month now. Now, you know what I've done. I go and fetch water. People know this. Maybe you have seen it before. I go and fetch water at the faculty block. Then I thought of something. That Kwesi, the bathhouse water, the clean water you use for WC. Kwesi, think of something. So I went to buy a small bucket, 5 cedis, the rubber one. Put it at the end of where the bathhouse water comes from. The gutter, is neat. So that all the water from my bathhouse enter, and I use it for the WC. Yeah. So almost the whole water I use to bath, I get almost the same thing. So I no longer use clean water for the WC. Yeah. So when you talk about innovation, it's not just agriculture.
Yeah.
Again, when it rains, I've seen that when it rains, all the water falls down free for nothing. So I've thought of something. I'm going to cut this angular tree, the tree which has like this angle. So that I'm calling a carpenter to come and fix it. Then you buy our own roof, you fix it at the roof so that when it rains, you collect all the water. So the carpenter hasn't come. That's that way I've reached. So when you were talking, you were just inciting me.
Yes. Okay, but then it's time. The next presenter should also. It's so inspiring.
Kind of advice.
Inspiring. The next presenter should please get ready. So, just 1 minute. 1 minute.
I'm very happy with this presentation.
Yes.
He mentioned of something that he has not been into farming, but see what he has been able to discover.
Yes.
And this has been the problem of Africa.
Exactly.
So I'm going to ask him now, when is he going to start implementing these things?
He's a student, so he's a student. He's doing it at the back.
He finishes his program and the theorems or whatever he has got, that is the problem.
He's a student. So
practicalize.
Sure. And I think this is to all of us. Most of us teaching, the students. We should. So we thank the presenter so much.